Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Craig Burley and Shaka here. So we'll kick things off in Munich, Germany taking on England. It finished 1-1. England losing Calvin Phillips early on in this game. Of course, a man who's missed a lot of the season already throughout injury. Germany would take the lead 5 minutes into the second half. Jonas Hoffmann with the goal. Took a slight deflection. Maybe Pickford could have done better. England, though, would equalise late on in the tie. A penalty from Harry Kane, racking up his 50th goal in an England shirt. For more on this, let's welcome in first, shall we, Jan Arger-Fjortov. Jan, 1-1 about right?
Well, Hansi Flicker's player have 11 games now for Germany, 8 wins and 3 draws, and they were the better team today. In the second half, England didn't turn up, and then suddenly Grealish came on the pitch. He did a bit change in the team. He put up Kane for a big chance, and he was involved doing things going forward. Of course, Shaka Hislop didn't see that Pickford that was not a good thing that he did in the 1-0. Hoffmann's shot, he could have stopped that one, but it was deservedly Germany up, and they should have won this game. They looked the better side, but I think it was a small progress from England after the Hungary game, which was very, very sad. But looking into the Qatar World Cup, I mean, Germany is further than England at the moment. But thank God for Nations League. Imagine this being a friendly and there will be like 11, 12 changes in second half. I think to be an end of the season kind of game and people want to go in to the holiday, it was a quite intense game. It was an okay game from Allianz in Munich.
Some are questioning Pickford, aren't they, as the number one choice, Shaka? Should he have done better for that goal?
No, I don't see
of course
how
he should.
does. Hoffmann strikes the ball cleanly from, 10, 12 yards. It gets a deflection off of Maguire.
Small deflection.
Just to take it half a hand away from Jordan Pickford. If Jordan Pickford doesn't get anything on that ball, there'd be less criticism. So I just don't understand. I don't understand why people expect deflections of that speed to be saved.
I don't know why people expect goalkeepers to save the ball.
No, with the gloves.
I know it's a little one. Anyway, he's a goalie. I don't care. Listen, go back to Jan's point. Jan said there that Germany are further ahead than England. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. And that's part of the issue I have when I watch England. And I know there'll be people watching this going, Scotland. It's not about Scotland, right? We know Scotland are not very good. The point is, look at the player pool that England have. Once again, I think we have a pragmatic manager in Gareth Southgate. And when I watch England with the players they have, and I know there's 1 or 2 missing, but it's still a strong team. And okay, a lot of tired legs, I understand that, but so will the German players. I just don't, 38% possession? Okay, it's away from home, but shouldn't this team be doing a little bit more than that? Shouldn't the football be a little bit better with the players that they've got? You know, I just feel with Gareth Southgate, and I know there's been a semi-final of a World Cup, by the way, with an easy pathway, a final of the Euros, by the way, with a pretty easy pathway, apart from the fact they put Germany out. But I just want more from England. A lot of these players are playing at a really, really high standard in the Premier League or, somewhere else, wherever it is. Mm-hmm. Trippier spent some time in Spain. Bellingham in Germany, who, by the way, I think could be starting for England come the World Cup, and that's a big question mark. Rice and Phillips, Bellingham. Yep. He's got the maturity for a young man to do it. But I want to see more from England, and I think that's the one criticism of Southgate, is I want to see England playing the type of football that I think their player pool can provide, and I'm not. But I generally don't see that. Go on, Jan.
Now, just saying that, I agree with you, because I think coming into a World Cup, you need to have a team that can play more, keep the ball more. I'm not a friend of only keep the ball for the sake of it, but when you come into a tournament like today, is a German team, as you said, there were a lot of players that have had a long season as well, looking forward to their holiday. But when England going forward, it looks like a coincidence what they're doing. It's just like, okay, maybe Grealish will do something. If we're lucky, Sterling will do something. Foden wasn't there today. He could create something for them coming forward. And then you have Harry Kane, who will score his goals. The team performance today of Germany, they just looked so much further. There was a plan behind what they're doing. And I like that Gareth Southgate have that pragmatic look to his game. I think that is good for England as well. But I think, as Craig is saying, that there are so many players in that team that could really do something going forward. And I will always say I'm doubtful about that defense with a Stones, with a Walker, with a Maguire. And yes, Xhaka himself is a big fan of Jordan Pickford. I think in international level he's just on the middle somewhere there, an average goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's a little weird that, because I saw something recently suggesting he was the best England goalkeeper. And maybe this tells you a lot about who's been in goals.
Right.
But I saw a debate somewhere, I can't remember where, about the best England goalkeeper since David Seaman.
Okay.
Now, I know he's maybe like a bit like Harry Maguire. He's played better for England than he has at times for
Everton.
For Everton. Not suggesting at all he's a bad goalkeeper, but I just feel as well watching him, he'll make some saves, but then there's a rick in him. So
I think he's been more consistent for England than Everton, certainly. And while you're talking about the best England goalkeepers, since David Seaman, maybe again you can stick with that theme. The most consistent since David Seaman. I think the goalkeepers in between don't really live in David Seaman's shoes in that regard. At the same time, Pickford hasn't. I don't think he's let Gareth Southgate down in any way. I believe Gareth Southgate will continue to show faith in him. I don't think anybody's challenging him for that shirt right now. And bigger picture for this, while I understand the disappointment around the England performance and the praise for the Germans, given how poor Germany was in the last two major international tournaments, you understand Germany taking this game a little bit more seriously. Given how good England were in the last two tournaments, if I'm Gareth Southgate, I'm not that worried about a 1-1 draw. I'm not that worried about getting outplayed 5.5 months before the World Cup. That you're still frigging things out. The Germans have a bigger gap to close between their performances in international tournaments and what they're hoping for come November. So the dynamic, or say at the very least the approach 5 months out, is very different between the two.
Are you okay with the penalty, Jan?
Yes, it was interesting because it could seem that it was offside, but he was really on Kane, so I think the penalty was okay. People asked about whether that will be a offside, but I guess the rules, I checked the rules, and they should be given like it's done. And then he had a look at it, and it was I think it's Schlotterbeck who takes on Harry Kane here, and he knocks him a bit there, so then he knocks his own foot. But I think that was enough to get a penalty, and we have to respect Harry Kane. This is his 50th international goal. 3 behind us now, Wayne Rooney, and went past Sir Bobby Charlton today. So big respect to Harry Kane. It has to be given to him.
Meanwhile, if I'm Leeds, I'm like, why is Phillips playing? Why is he even in this squad? Given everything that he went through this season, what's the point of putting him at risk once again? And obviously he comes off after 8 minutes. We don't know the extent of the injury, but considering what led up to this throughout the season, it's so frustrating.
It looked to me there, just seeing that slowed down a little bit, as if it was, and I think this was brought up in the commentary that we were listening to, was a dead leg.
Right.
Which it looked quite high up in the thigh, which is not a major drama in the long term. Couple of days, bit of bruising, very sore. But yeah, it's a good point that. I mean, he has had a wretched season with injury, and I think clearly he's a player who wants to play. But yeah, I think if I'm Leeds, I'm a little bit frustrated that you got to. And as Shaq said, look, these bigger nations are not fussed about the Nations League.
Right.
Let's be quite frank. This is all about preparation for this World Cup in Qatar. So yeah, I think you've got to be careful with some of the players. They look tired to me. Yeah. I mean, the players are just playing too many games now.
That's the thing for me. Listen, Calvin Phillips, we know he's had injury problems, but then all the other players have been playing. So if Gareth Southgate is speaking to Calvin Phillips and he thinks he's fit enough, and his staff tells him he's fit enough, he's raring to go, you can take a chance on him, given the fact that others are coming off long seasons, you're more tempted to use Calvin Phillips now than... And dare I suggest, if you're Leeds, you prefer he gets injured now in June than the international window in September. So at least from a Leeds perspective, the timing of it isn't as bad as it could be, given going into the new season.
But for Germany, go on, Jan.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that it's interesting to see. I've seen a lot of games, as we all have, And there's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of players you can see it on their face that they want to go off. And to the point of Xhaka to Germany, yes, it's true that Germany has to pay back and try to build up their credibility among their fans, so they can take it more seriously. You have an Italian team who wants to build up a credibility after they missed out on the World Cup, but you just get a feeling that England is trying out a bit. Let's just go through the motions, and we play Germany is a big thing, and we won their 5-1 like 20 years ago with a Michael Owen hat-trick, so we can't embarrass ourselves. So I think that's fair to say they were running through the motions. But I think there's a lot of, when you see that players pool of England, there's a lot of players who wants to be in that team. And it was mentioned there with Jude Bellingham knocking on the door. I think Calvin Phillips, he is afraid to be out of the team because this place can be taken. So there's a big competition in the middle of the park for England. And I think that you saw that today, that they want to play. And Bellingham came on, did okay. Grealish makes something extra for England. So they're going to be a competition on that left side, and whatever will happen in defense, we don't know. But I think that England have got enough players at least, but they have to be more like a team going forward, because now it's all based to individuals' skill.
How close was that German 11 that we saw today, Jan, meanwhile, to the one that may start in the World Cup?
Well, it's interesting. Over 2 games now, they changed a bit round. You had Goretzka played instead of Gundogan. You could put Gnabry, who came on for Musiala. I think Musiala played good today. And then you always have Werner running around. I've said this on the show before, I'm a big fan of Raum, who plays at Hoffenheim. David Raum is a left peg coming up and down but if he will play, Schlotterbeck, 22 years of age, good season by Freiburg, now going to Dortmund, he'll be there in Qatar, but he's getting close, and it's interesting to see how after Löw that Hansi Flick has kind of found a way, like I said at the beginning, 11 games, 8 wins, 3 draws. So Germany is coming there slowly, and I don't think they will be favourites at the World Cup. Will they be outsiders? And I will put England in that outsider role as well. I'm not sure that there's a lot more in there.
Well, the bookies do not agree with you whatsoever. England's second favourites to win the World Cup. Brazil, meanwhile, at 9-2. You look at the Germans at 11-1. Let's stick with that subject then, Jan. Who would go further, in your opinion, Germany or England?
Germany. Although England got a okay group, but I got a feeling that Germany with Hansi Flick, they will find this German kind of DNA. Whatever will happen, they will come 100% sure to a quarter-final or a semi-final. And if Craig's saying if Gareth Southgate can take out what is in his players' pool, which I think is a good expression of it, but I mean, England got a tradition of not getting the best out of their generation, so let's see what's happening in Qatar.
It's a good group for England again, isn't it?
Oh, yes, obviously England, Iran, the USA and Wales.
I mean, I'd imagine the USA would be, the biggest threat to them. That's not saying a lot. But they should take care of them, yeah. I mean, they're going to be energetic, and it's a young side. But it's you look at where those players are all playing, and when he puts that first 11 out, if they're all fit, and he uses Grealish correctly and Foden correctly, and we hardly used Grealish at the Euros. He was criticised for it. He was very conservative. But if he unleashes, which I don't know if he'll do, then yeah, I think it's easily knockout football for them, and then we'll see what happens. But I think defensively, I just still think about them at the back. I mean, I know Harry Kane will score, I know they've got a threat going forward, but you don't win these competitions unless you've got some solidity at the back. And I'm just not quite convinced still that England have that.
We've got 5 months to look ahead to this World Cup before it kicks off in November. Meanwhile, extra time.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
Well, because you'll be going, oh, we're talking about the World Cup again. I can imagine it. Oh, it's Xhaka and his apricot candle. Frank having an affair with my wife. It was all go on extra time yesterday. Check it out over on YouTube. A young Italian team beat Hungary by 2-1 on Tuesday. It was Barella who had opened the scoring for the hosts, and Pellegrini just before the break, giving Italy those 2 key goals. That was just their first win in this round of the Nations League ties, put them top of the group as well. 3 points clear already of England. For more on this game, let's welcome in, shall we? Gab Marcotti is with us. Good performance today, Gam?
Good performance, but I think more than that is, I mean, dude, Italy started an 18-year-old kid up front who has never played in Serie A, Gnonto. We saw him come on in the last game against Germany. He sort of wowed everybody with the way he was running around. Now he started in this game up front. We saw this other kid, Zerbin, who's never played in Serie A either. He's from Frosinone in Serie B. We saw him make his debut. We saw a lot of young players over these two games. And we saw, I think in some ways, recapturing that spirit that they had originally when Mancini took over, where they said, we're going to take chances, we're going to show personality, we're going to be fearless. We don't necessarily need the big games, although some of the bigger names, of course, like Pellegrini and Barella were back for this game. So I think it's given people a morale boost. I think Mancini realizes it's the end of the season, we're going into the Nations League. Rather than stress over results, let's try something new, because tell you what, it's going to be a long time since we play until we play in another major competition. Let's see what I have here.
How much has this eased the pressure on Mancini? Say they'd lost these two games, Gab, would there have been much more call for him to go?
Hey, you always ask me this, the pressure on Mancini. There is no pressure on Mancini. If Mancini was going to be sacked, he was going to be sacked after failing to win the World Cup. People are squarely behind him. People understand the situation. He's not perfect. They understand that this group of players is what it is. They also understand that they went out because they missed chances and they failed to convert penalties. That's why they're not going to the World Cup. So now I think they're committed to Mancini. People genuinely enjoy watching this national team. They may not be that good. Not all of these youngsters are going to make it. But he's doing something completely different that we've never seen before among Italy managers. And people are responding to it.
Some say that Mancini's job was never in danger, Gab. If he'd have gone after the World Cup qualifiers. How much does he want to stay, though? How much would he be tempted, say, if a PSG came knocking?
If you bring up PSG, maybe it's different. I don't know. I don't think PSG will come knocking. I think he's genuinely committed to this. I think he took a big chance opting to play the way he did, and he was rewarded for it at the Euros. Less so, obviously, with what happened afterwards. I wouldn't see him leaving at this stage. I think he still feels, obviously, the responsibility to qualify for another major competition like the Euros first and foremost. But obviously, if they start winning, if they top this Nations League group with Germany and England, for example, then yeah, I think he'll be back on people's radar.
A lot more from Gab Marcotti on the latest edition of the Gab and Jules podcast. Thank you very much, Gab. You can check that out over on the website. Reports are suggesting that Aurelien Tchouameni is almost a Real Madrid player, and it is a lot of money. It looks like Florentino Perez is going to splash out on the 22-year-old over 100 million euros for the midfielder. Gab, how good is he, in your opinion?
Well, he certainly made a tremendous impact last year at Monaco. People like the fact that he's a physical, high-energy midfielder with quality, but also somebody who's exceptionally mature for his age. I spoke to one scout about him, and he said, he can do a lot of the things that Ndombele used to do before he moved to Spurs, but he has a much, much better head on his shoulders. And I think that's a big part of the appeal. You hear him talk. He seems very, very mature. That fee is exceptionally high for somebody his age. My understanding is that a chunk of that is down to bonuses, some of them easy to reach bonuses, some of them a little bit less so. And obviously there was interest from Paris Saint-Germain and reportedly even Liverpool for Tchouameni, but Real Madrid moving in pretty decisively. Not surprising, because obviously, as we all know, they're sitting on that Mbappe pot of gold, which they didn't get to spend.
No, well, certainly spending a big chunk of it here, Craig. To kind of bolster midfield that we've discussed a lot needs bolstering and needs this kind of regeneration at some stage. It has to happen.
Yeah, and it's going to evolve, but it's going to evolve still a little slowly because Modric is still playing great. Casemiro is still able to do a job. And Toni Kroos can pass the ball, but you've got Camavinga, who come on and patches it towards the end of the season, look really good. Now I've got Tchouameni from Monaco, who, and I'm talking to Jules about him as well a couple of weeks ago, he's got a bit more to his game than Camavinga. Camavinga maybe more of a sort of sitting midfielder. Tchouameni can do a little bit of everything. Very, very tidy on the ball, very comfortable on the ball. Saw him play for France away in Croatia just a day or so ago. And look good. And so it's about getting young players in, it's about getting good physical players in. Yeah, as Gab said, the money's quite high, but if you don't go and pay the money and do the deal, he's going to go somewhere else. And Real Madrid know that this squad has been a great squad for them, but it's going to need to be patched up, and they've already started doing that.
And the situation seems to be almost ideal in a sense. You're not being dropped in straight to the starting 11 and expect to perform straight away. In that he can, as Ancelotti did with Camavinga almost, kind of just slowly but surely.
Agreed. I think that's the perfect situation for Tchouameni coming in here, as you mentioned, Camavinga, and especially given the club. Real Madrid, and we've spoken about this during the course of this season in particular, where it's all about the culture of the club, understanding what the club stands for, and the players buying into that. Now, at the same time, 100 million is the kind of money you spend on a player to come in immediately and make an impact. But Real Madrid have the money, they don't have the need for that immediate impact. I think this is money well spent, and it'll prove to be in the long term.
Meanwhile, let's talk about someone else who looks like they could be on the move, and that is Gabrielle Jesus, leaving Manchester City. You take a look at his stats, 13 goals last season in 41 matches. Gab, when I see a player that's been linked to a number of different clubs, I have your voice almost ringing in my head saying, well, this is the agent obviously walking him around from club to club. Is that relevant in this situation? And if it is, out of the likes of Arsenal, Spurs, Real Madrid, where is the most likely destination for the Brazilian?
I think it is relevant, but I think it's okay with his club, with Manchester City, and it's understandable. He has a year left on his contract. He's not been offered a contract, or at least an extension of the sort that he would want to take on. He knows that obviously Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez are on their way in, so minutes are going to be hard to come by. And I think, rightly, he's sticking around, knowing that worst comes to worst, I stay at City for another year, and then I move as a free agent. I'll still get on the pitch because I work hard and I can do many different things. He's been linked with Arsenal for a long, long time. I don't think Arsenal, there were reports even that Arsenal had agreed terms on principle. I'm not sure that's with the player's agent. I'm not sure that's quite accurate, or they're quite at that stage, but they certainly showed a strong interest. I think the difficult thing is people don't quite know what he is. Is he a winger? Is he a centre forward? The appeal of Real Madrid is obviously they have that Mbappe-sized hole, and you're getting somebody in who's 25 years old, who can work off the ball, who can do things for you. Equally, though, you are going to have to tie up a fair amount of money in him, and Real Madrid might be wondering, well, if he was that good, why isn't Pep keeping him around? And does he necessarily fit the kind of football that we're playing here under Ancelotti, the kind of football that we want to play? So I think it's a bit complex. I think his representatives are casting a wide net, and I don't think that there's this tremendous interest where people feel like they have to get the deal done now. Neither, I think, does Gabriel Jesus necessarily feel that he needs to get this done now. Like I said, he's a year away from free agency. If he doesn't find the right offer, I think he's comfortable sticking around and taking his chances on the open market next summer.
Does Arsenal fit Gabriel Jesus?
It's a difficult one. I mean, they need to get players in that are going to fill that position for sure. I mean, they've got some youngsters that have filled the wider positions, and Odegaard behind. Clearly, Aubameyang and Lacazette, two experienced players. Lacazette not so much in the goals. Aubameyang, disciplinary issues towards the end, as we know, not playing particularly well. I agree with Gav. I think if I was Jesus, I think I'd be inclined to sit and wait,
Okay.
particularly with a year left.
See what comes along?
Yeah, I think I would. Now, whether Man City try and dissuade him from doing that by suggesting there won't be many minutes of game time, I don't know. That is a ploy that could be used. And of course, their squad is going to be bolstered by some new signings. But it's a difficult one for the player because he's good enough to go somewhere and become this striker again that we know he is, but has been utilised in many different positions and has actually done a good job, particularly on the wide left area. It's whether he could persuade him to go to Arsenal where, you know, is it all about the project?
Right.
I think if I was him...
Knows Arteta though, wouldn't he?
Well, he knows Arteta from his time there, but, you know, at the end of the day, Arsenal are a long chunk off challenging for major honours. Let's be frank about it.
But there aren't many big clubs that Gabriel Jesus comes in and starts.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think this is a good fit. This is a good opportunity for Gabriel Jesus right now. And listen, I understand you wait a year, you go out of contract, but to your point, in a year's time, I'm not sure that opportunity, even at a club the size of Arsenal, is necessarily there. If Gabriel Jesus doesn't go there this summer and they fill that void, who right now in 12 months' time can we say, yeah, they'll be looking for a striker in 12 months' time? And it's just a bit of a gamble for a player who hasn't seen a lot of minutes the last couple of years. We'll see even less minutes this year.
Could be a World Cup winner, though.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble as we sit right now.
Gab?
No, you just quickly, I think part of this, you have to look at the fact that Sterling, if he does stay at City, we're taking it as read that, you know, he's not going to get minutes. But remember, Mahrez will obviously be a year older. Raheem Sterling has a contractual situation as well. So I think the minutes may be there to be shared around. We're not talking about a guy who's a week in, week out starter. And, you know, you're talking about him playing center forward at Arsenal. This is a guy who really hasn't played consistently at center forward in several years. And when he did it, it wasn't necessarily to Pep Guardiola's liking. You know, he was supposed to be the heir apparent to Sergio Aguero, and then they went in another direction when Aguero started getting injured. So could he be a center forward at Arsenal? Does he want to be a center forward? I think those are a lot of questions. I think certainly if you're Arsenal, if you are going to get him, you get him to play center forward. You don't get him to play as a winger because you have enough good options in wide positions with Saka and Martinelli and Smith Rowe and so on.
Jesus then with 1 year left on his contract. Meanwhile, Ousmane Dembele's contract is up in the summer, Gab. PSG apparently have said they don't want him. Chelsea have been linked to a move for him. What are the chances of this?
Some people have suggested the origin of this is a tweet from 2013 when Dembele tweeted something like, wow, Chelsea. I guess he was watching a game on television or something. I don't know. Look, leaving aside the fact that Dembele is going to cost you a ton in wages because he's a free agent and he was making a lot of money, Dembele's a winger. Chelsea under Tuchel haven't been playing with wingers. They've been playing with wing backs, and the indication is that that's going to continue with Reece James and Ben Chilwell. So unless Tuchel decides, you know, that, oh, I'm going to try to turn him into an attacking midfielder or some kind of forward or Timo Werner type, it doesn't really make any sense to me whatsoever unless you're going to go and change your whole system at Chelsea, which, you know, there is a conversation to be had that maybe they would be better off, especially if they decide they want to believe in Lukaku again. But there's no indication that that's happening right now at Chelsea. So to me, this seems pretty far-fetched right now.
Gab Marcotti, as always, said thank you very much for all the latest transfer news. Be sure to check out Transfer Talk over on the website. Looks set to be a very busy summer indeed. Australia beat the United Arab Emirates to set up a clash with Peru on Monday in a winner-takes-all tie. The winner books a place in Group D of the World Cup alongside France, Denmark and Tunisia. Let's just remind you, shall we, of course, as we showed you earlier, the odds to win the World Cup. Brazil coming in at 9-2, England and France 11-2, Spain 8-1, Argentina 9-1. Shaka, of course, a couple of days ago, you said Argentina to
yes,
win
I did.
We had a question, actually, on extra time, asking the likelihood of Ronaldo or Messi ever winning the Ballon d'Or again. If Messi is a key part of Argentina winning the World Cup, then he's done it, isn't he? Surely? Ballon d'Or? Written in the stars already.
We'll have to see, Dan.
I can't get my head around this.
Which bit?
Messi, when he was this genius in his 20s, couldn't get Argentina over the line.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, he's not far off the Zimmer frame, and they're going to win the World Cup.
He scored 5 goals this week, Craig.
Who were they playing against?
With his Zimmer frame.
With a Zimmer frame.
Dog and dog. I tell you what, see these World Cup odds?
Yes.
It must be rather boring as an Englishman. Every major tournament, they're up there. Oh, one of the favourites, and they win nothing.
Yes.
And once again, they're there.
Yes.
Nobody's talking about them.
Yeah.
Stop.
It's not boring, is it? I don't know anything else.
Yeah,
it's just
stop-
what it is.
Stop throwing a dampener on fanboy over here.
not-
You've seen him during every single tournament, how excited he gets.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, England are up there. It seems to be, for some reason. I mean, they've got a decent team at the moment.
Yes.
But better than France? Don't think so.
No.
And they're up there once again,
Not better than Argentina.
getting everybody's hopes up, and they win nothing with all those players.
No, it's true. It's disappointing.
And I tell you what will happen
But
in
it's always
Qatar,
been
it'll be
disappointing.
the same again.
Disappointing for 40 years, isn't it? That's what it is. It's what you're supposed to do. That's life.
You sound sad, Dan.
I mean, you got England winning the World Cup, and Messi. Well, you got England favourites, and Messi winning the World Cup.
Argentina's my pick to win the World Cup. It is. I'm sticking with Argentina.
I've heard
Sticking with Argentina.
Listen, I've heard. See today, I've had my absolute eyeballs of goalies.
Wow.
Trying to be a good beat Bahamas.
I'm up with
All right, then. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Goodbye. Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. We've got Craig and Shaka here alongside me. Happy birthday to Shaka's wife tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Tomorrow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, what a week it is for our panel. Stevie celebrates his 40th wedding anniversary. Imagine being with Stevie for 40 years.
Celebrates the wrong terminology.
Very true.
Eleanor has been cleaning up after that man for 40 years.
Exactly. Crikey. Jan, how long have you been married? Long time as well, yeah?
36 years. 36.
Wow, fair play, fair play.
That's a long time.
Right then.
36 years married.
Now, 34, sorry.
Oh, okay.
34.
Who's older between
Okay.
Jan and Stevie?
Sorry?
Stevie played with my dad in the...
Here we go. Let's get straight to it, shall we? For
Yeah.
Craig, do you think Ronaldo or Messi have a chance of winning another Ballon d'Or?
No.
What? What if Messi wins the World Cup with Argentina in November? PSG win the Champions League?
In November?
No, in the after bit, after the World Cup. No?
Not now.
Jan, the hype on Lewandowski has really died, but he still won Golden Boot this year, his third in a row, only ever being done by Messi. Why aren't more clubs trying to sign him when he's a goal guarantee?
Well, the hype, I mean, Barcelona desperate to get him. He's 34. He is offered a 3-year deal at Barcelona. The problem is that he is, for 1 year, known about all the flirting with this Norwegian, which name we shouldn't do more this summer because now he's in England. But he is known about Haaland all the time. So Lewandowski, there is a hype around him, but he's decided that he wants to leave Bayern. Every day there is a new interview in Polish TV or a Polish podcast, and he's just saying it's over, Bayern, I don't want to go back. And the last thing now was in the German media that Salahamidzic, the head of sport at Bayern, has told him to calm down a bit, and he says, no, I don't want to calm down, I want to leave you, bye-bye.
It's like a big crybaby, isn't he?
Shaka, if Bale is considering Cardiff City, surely a return to Southampton makes way more sense. Premier League returns where it all started, a bookend for his career, club that means a lot to him, and good local golf courses. It makes all kind of sense. Him and James Ward-Prowse on free kicks.
Remember the days we used to have short questions?
What?
These big elongated things. You're not very good at reading.
What do you mean? I read that beautifully.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I
It was like
did.
just a monologue.
What should a question be?
Sorry?
What should a question be if not a monologue?
Shorten.
I can't edit the
Dan,
question as I go
Dan.
along, can I?
Concise.
Dan, I have a question from Norway. Can you try to make that question in dialogue? Can you ask Craig how to do that?
Yes,
dialogue.
exactly.
He was- by the way, did you
Please.
see him? Did you see Jan about a minute ago wearing those glasses that you had?
He always wears those glasses, doesn't he? He wants to read what's
Extra
going on
time.
because I don't read
Extra
it
time.
properly. See, it's his extra time glasses.
Same head and average.
Shaka, Southampton.
Yes.
You lived round there.
I did.
Did you?
I did live in
Oh,
Southampton.
you did Portsmouth.
Well, I played for Portsmouth, but
Yeah.
lived in Southampton.
Why? That's a traitor. You're a traitor.
Nah, Portsmouth's
That's where I
not
found a house. That's where I found a house.
So did
That's all it
Titanic.
Sort of, I found a house, that's all.
All right, well, let's get back. Stop saying
Oh,
you found a house.
All I can do is agree.
Do you mean you bought a house? You didn't find it. You bought it.
Well, both. I found it and then I bought it.
Wow,
But I had to
time.
find it first.
Did it have air conditioning?
It did.
Switch it on. Did it
The
have
answer is yes.
Yes, Southampton, yes.
Yeah, that would make.
Makes sense.
Yeah?
Makes a lot of sense.
Jan, what makes sense for you with regards to Bale?
Gareth Bale, underestimated, great player. He could do a job for a lot of English Premiership clubs. We should not only go after what is back to his dreamhood. There are 2 or 3 teams. He could go to Leeds United, he can go to Newcastle. There is a lot of clubs that can use him.
Jan, would Nkunku be the perfect alternative to Mbappe for Madrid? Any surprise that they haven't moved for him?
Not surprised that because he is a great player, done well in the Bundesliga, but he's not in the Mbappe kind of level yet. And Leipzig have been very clear that they don't want to lose him. They will keep him now. So I think that could be good for him to stay another year. He would do Madrid a lot better, so then they should leave it.
During their playing days, what was everyone's favourite holiday destination at the end of the
Wow.
season?
Oh yes.
Why you look at me and smile? Why you look at me and
Well,
smile?
because I can guess where this might end up.
Why? Where?
Well, where do you think?
Trinidad.
Yeah.
It's not a holiday. That's his home.
Well, it's still a bit of both, isn't it?
My home is a
Yeah.
holiday destination.
Exactly.
Your life's
It's not like Cumnock, is it?
Your life's a holiday. Your life is just one gigantic
holiday.
holiday. Portugal.
The same place?
Yeah, Portugal.
Yeah, no,
The Algarve.
yeah, the Algarve. Yeah.
The Algarve.
Right.
Golf.
Nice.
Hire a villa.
Did you go with your teammates or did
No. Teammates are just ships passing in the night.
Right.
Went with family.
Wow.
Used to take my mum and dad and my grandparents and 1 or 2 others, and sometimes I used to hire a villa when it used to be less expensive, and play a bit of golf and
Oh, nice.
Quinta del Lago,
Nice.
Val de Lobo.
Yep. Never a crossword at all during those times. I mean,
Who with?
the family.
Oh, many. Particularly my granddad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you butt heads?
Well, he has his dinner at the same time every night, doesn't he?
Yes.
And then he was singing in a restaurant when the food was a little delayed.
Okay.
Why are we waiting?
Oh really?
Yeah, him and my gran.
Wow.
Got upset.
Can't believe that's your grandparents.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Well,
It's generational.
I'm patient. They were impatient. Used to annoy me.
Right.
What?
Do you say anything about this?
No, he kept it all to himself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just kept it all bottled up.
I went
Every night.
to Shaka. I went Sandy Lane. Is that Barbados? The hotel?
That's Barbados.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Barbados. Barbados number 1. Number 2, when I went with the family, we went to a place in Sardinia called Forte Village. The problem was when you came to Forte Village, there were so many footballers there. So once I went there with Henning Berg, who played for Manchester United, won the Champions League with them, and we had a look around and people we met there, and we realized if they made a squad, a 16-man squad, we wouldn't be in the squad. So that was a lot of football plays. I remember after that knockout I had with Roy Keane, the first one I went into at the dinner was of course Roy Keane. I mean, but it was a great place for kids. Great.
Why did all the footballers go to the same place, Jan?
I'm not sure. I think it's one of them. It was because they made photos and put the photos in the shops. So everybody, he's been there. He has been there. Conte, he's been there, and all that kind of thing. Bergome, okay, he's been there. So I think everybody wished that they would get a photo in the shop.
Wow.
Arsene Wenger was always there.
When footballers go on holiday and they get hot, what do they do?
Okay, here we go. This is some sort of dad joke.
They get hot.
Yeah,
Go in the shade.
they go with the fans.
Oh no, that is
What?
What's
that is
happening?
of course. That is one of the saddest jokes I've ever heard.
Jan enjoyed it.
What's going on?
Carry on.
That's one of the worst lines I've ever heard. You should be
Wow.
escorted out of the building. Yeah, 40
You know how long
minutes.
I've been waiting for that?
Been once. Yeah, I've been.
Because basically a footballer will tell you, oh, this is a good place to go. And
Yes,
I can't
yeah.
remember, but I
Yeah.
did bump into. I bumped into. I told you this. Frodo Grodas. I bumped into him there. You always bump into
Yeah.
people.
right,
I like going places that don't bump into people.
right, yep. Just with the family.
Trinidad.
Like I mean,
Like
like
Sandy
anybody.
Lane. Sandy Lane.
Sandy Lane's very poor. It shouldn't be. That's very expensive. I've not been there. Yeah, too expensive for me.
Yeah, for me, playing.
Is
for
it?
me
Where's
playing
Sandy
is
Lane?
Barbados.
Barbados.
Was you not listening earlier?
No.
Well, you
Gorgeous.
well, you've switched on to this.
No,
Of
no,
course, you've got another show you're doing.
I do, I'm working hard.
So you're
Jan, where are you
with
going
my
on
great-
holiday this year? Are you going back to Sandy Lane?
I'm going back to Sardinia. Sardinia, I love to go there. And then I'm going to Formula One for the first time to see it live.
Oh.
So I'm going to Austria to see the Formula One there. As you know, I'm a Verstappen fan. So there is a plan that we'll see Verstappen, and then I will do a selfie with a 24-year-old, what you do. So I'm going for the Formula One, and then we go to Sardinia.
How come there's no Norwegian drivers? Are they not very good or what?
Formula 2. We can't afford them, Craig. You need a lot of money. How many Brits?
Will you be dressed in orange like the rest of Verstappen clan?
No, I will probably just drink a Red Bull and have a good time. I won't be.
His dad's
I'm
not
not
very happy.
Dutch. I'm not Dutch.
Verstappen's dad?
Yeah.
Why not? Because Jan's going.
No, he's not very happy. Jos Verstappen, who's a Formula One
Yeah.
driver, because Sergio Perez is starting to win races.
Yeah, good point.
Well, he
good
won
point.
one race, didn't he? That
Well,
was
he's
it.
only 15 points behind in the championship. And maybe
and
he's
what
more
do
of
they
Well, he
do?
let him win the race in Barcelona, didn't he? So,
Who let him win it? Perez.
Perez.
Strategy that was.
wow.
No, it wasn't. He would have won that anyway. But is
Is he?
But is it?
What's that?
Oh, there we go. Is he from Sandy Lane, Sandy Hill, whatever it's called? Right.
Right, come on. You've
Final question.
You've got much work to do.
For Jan and Shaka.
And we never get invited to do this.
For Jan and Shaka, can you explain to Dan Thomas that any match representing your country is an honour, even if it's just a friendly? I'm tired of Dan downplaying the importance of a match
Good point.
for your nation.
Good point. I was
you do
today. No. Yeah.
So's Denise.
Many words. You could have stopped it right there.
Go on, Jan.
No, but it's a good point. I think that for some of us who haven't won a lot of trophies and all that kind of things, caps are very important. I was seeing some of the young lads at the Norwegian national team. Now I saw that for a part that we did with an interview, and we just talked about that your legacy after your career for us or for me was very important. How many caps, how many international goals, and to represent your country, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I can understand. I can understand when you win a lot of trophies that maybe that devaluate maybe some caps, but for me it was a fantastic honour to have my 71 caps for Norway.
No, fair play. Obviously, from a player's perspective, you're proud to play in these games. I can only speak as a
games?
fan. International friendlies.
Nah, I hated friendlies as well.
Oh, there you go.
See?
Good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You got to go home. You got to go home.
Exactly.
And we're
Jolly
back
up.
full circle.
I got to see my parents. I got to go back to Trinidad and Tobago. It's the only time I'd see my folks.
Oh, why? When you go when you were paying for it off your on a card?
I could
Or was
only
you waiting
go.
for
I
the
could only go in
Trinidad
the off season.
Football Association?
I could only go in the off season. If you're not called into the international team, you're not allowed to travel. You stay and you train with your team.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's what I'm saying. So you get called in. I get to go back to Trinidad and Tobago. I see my mother and my father.
Yep.
Everybody's a
So it
winner.
wasn't the
So downplaying the importance
So
of
it
a
wasn't.
match
It
for
wasn't.
your
It
nation.
wasn't the game.
Yeah, no,
It was just.
it was-
Oh, I'm back. Let's go out. Hello. Oh, there's a game.
It's a package.
Ah, the whole package
Package.
of it all. There you go.
That's what
Good
it
old
is.
package.
All right. Okay.
It's a package deal.
That's it. We are done for today. Thank you very much.
Not you and Craig. You and Craig are coming back, aren't you?
ESPN FC will be back on your screens tomorrow.
Goals.
Be sure to join. I got a few days off now, Shaq.
Thank God, we'll get somebody on that doesn't
I'm here
downplay.
Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm off tomorrow, man.
All right. Oh, that's good. Craig's here all week.
Are you in tomorrow?
Nope.
I'm in tomorrow. Who's in tomorrow?
Just you.
You on your own.
Just you.
That'll work.
Great stream.